some guys actually aren't quite that good with their stick skills. But one area I'm hoping that we can chat about is, are there any players that you could talk about that were just workhorses, either on the ice with conditioning, like extra, or even in the weight room doing extra over and over? I know that's something that, as athletes, sometimes we're like, oh, am I doing too much? Or we think we're doing enough, but you're doing not enough. I see that a lot actually with these players. They think they're doing enough. And something given on success during my junior and college career, that's something I was able to take advantage of, is I was in pretty good shape, and use my stick skills and my smarts to my advantage. Where in pro hockey, I found it, was an everyday thing, everyday grind. I found it a lot harder to, do extra because of the hours that we were putting in as a pro already.
Yeah, I think honestly a really good example of that is he's actually our assistant coach now, but Joe Hauk is his name, and he came to Hamilton College and at the Division III level. He came in as a natural freshman, which pretty rare, and he was a little bit overweight, as a 17, 18-year-old, and eventually, he really kind of, once he got here and kind of learned, oh wow, I got to really do this to be successful.
Good, yeah,
and great. He took that to the extreme, and we kind of said, hey, look, if you want to be really good, and you had a lot of tools, if you want to be really good, you're going to have to streamline yourself, eat a little bit better, do this amount of extra in the weight room, and here's some on ice things to work on as well. And he would come down late at night when everybody else was kind of studying or just whatever, just shutting it down, or playing whatever, and he would go down to the rink when nobody else was there. And I didn't know he was doing this until now that I've coached with him. But he'd go down on the rink by himself late at night and be out there working on his game, working on his skating. Was a big thing. By his sophomore year, he was a first-team All-American, NESCAC Player of the Year, moved up from Division III to Division I to Hockey East, won a Hockey East championship.
Which school was that?
Well, UMass Lowell.
Wow.
Went to UMass Lowell.
It's quite a story. Yeah.
Yeah. East championship, Frozen Four. And then just finished playing pro, was an all-star on the East Coast. And then his body did start to break down a little bit on him. And everybody's going to be different that way. But just in terms of sheer work ethic and strength and what he had to do physically to get from, 18-year-old coming out of Tier 3 junior, playing Division III college, to being an all-star in pro hockey, Frozen Four in Division I, that commitment to what he had to do in the weight room, to what he could do away from, eating healthier and smarter, and then just the extra time, he could have been studying, he could have been doing a whole lot of other things, but by himself, he went down to the rink and just started working on things.
Yeah, that just goes to show, there was, of course, many different influences, but he took it upon himself to hit that potential ceiling. That's what I talk about with all the guys and the players, the parents, just able to hit that ceiling, and for them to know how to, or things that they can think about to try to. Also what you're talking about, though, is how he went to your school. That's read and react. He goes there, reads, gets a good sense of what's going on and how he's like, oh, I want to take it upon myself to be great. And then he reacts by going and doing these extra things, by going to the rink later at night, and doing extra stuff. I'm sure there's many other things that he was doing, if he's already got the mentality of doing extra. And now exactly what you're talking about, big hockey career, and he's playing professionally now. Going above and beyond is what these players should make sure of, and definitely.
Because it can be done, and it's, again, I think it goes back to, not always having to be told what to do, like you said, and just, I didn't tell him to be at the rink at 1 a.m. by himself. No, of course not. But he took the ball and he ran with it. And there have been other guys that have done, similar, that they didn't always have to be told to do extra, or when they were told, they clicked, and then they went, okay, I'm realizing it now, and then I could take that to another level, So it's
one story I'd like to share, actually, given on that, I was thinking about this yesterday, just about all the players that I've played with as well, but guys that would take it to the next level, especially on ice is one thing, but off ice, I remember Thomas McCollum is a first rounder to Detroit, and that's when I played for Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
He was there, one of the top prospects, just like Abdelkader, Tatar, Jakob Kindle, and there's a number of others that actually played higher levels and elite pro hockey. But he would be on the bike. He would show up to the rink early, be on the bike. I think it was like around an hour before practice, and he'd do the extra, and that would be his cardio or steady rides or whatever he would do, and just putting the time in. And at that age, coming out at, I don't know, he was probably around 21 years old at that point. That's a big thing to do. I'm sure he had guidance, but he was willing to take that upon himself and be there early. And being the new guy myself, coming from college hockey, we were instilled some things to get there early and do some things that we need to. So Thomas was one player goalie that I could share that story with.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's just kind of keeping that goal just out of reach, right? And that continues. Like, again, you need guidance. There's no question. But then that final push, that comes down to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you like to add? Any other stories of players? USHL or D3, D1?
Yeah, I think one of my favorites too, a guy, Nick Seeler, currently playing Minnesota for the Wild, and when he first came, we had him in Des Moines, and when he first got there, man, I just remember, obviously what a talent, but just emotionally, he, after every shift, there was such an emotional roller coaster with him that, God, it was almost like he was playing two games mentally, while playing the current one.
Right.
And I always am like, man, you're going to go play at UNO, and you're going to potentially play for Dean Blake. You gotta kind of reel some of that in and really try to emotionally just get under control a little bit, or you're just going to exhaust yourself, right? And it's been tremendous to see him, and he's had bumps along the road, but to still see him excel to the level that he's at now has been tremendous to see, because again, coming out of junior, I would have bet against him, and to see what he's done, and has been tremendous. And I think a lot of that just is insane work ethic that he did have. Obviously had a lot of ability, but I think he clearly kind of figured that out a bit.
Work ethic. So he had the work ethic to be able to dissect the game, but also what he needed for self-improvement, and work at it to make that commitment to do things to become successful, basically.
And I'm sure he learned more of that, obviously, once he moved on from junior. Clearly he has, and because again, you can't be a total head case, and be playing at that level. So clearly he took that initiative, and whether he had a lot of really good guidance along the way. He played for some really good college coaches, but it's just been tremendous and thrilling to see what he's been able to do, and just such a competitive, tough kid that some people might have looked at him and go, oh, what a mentally weak kid. Where I think others would
interpret it.
Right. And where I thought, no, that kid was fearless. I mean, I watched him. He fought some guys that were twice his size. I mean, he didn't care. And you've seen him do it in the NHL. He is fearless, tough. And I loved that, about him. Where did
he play in the NHL?
He plays in Minnesota.
Okay. Great. Great now.
Yep. And so, it's just been, like I said, it's been great to see his journey, and I was only a tiny, minuscule part of it
Yeah.
when he was in Des Moines, but it's just been awesome to see.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's had the right guidance, and he's taken the initiative on his own to do what is necessary, and he's just a warrior of a kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great stories. Okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us. For all the followers, it's Graham Johnson with University of Milwaukee of Engineering, School of Engineering. And yeah, thanks a lot for coming on and sharing your stories and experiences from coaching and your past playing experience.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, always great, as I said, to catch up with you and to chat with former players. And but hope everybody stays safe and healthy out there, and uses this time to get better, as we all are, and just stay happy and healthy and safe.